All right. Welcome everybody. If you're watching this for the for Nathan's portfolio reviews, we're about to get started. I just wanted to say thanks for showing up. And if you have any questions, you can submit them. If you're watching on Twitch, you can submit them right here, and I'll relay them through Discord to Nathan as he's reviewing stuff. And if you have a question that you want to ask verbally, or you have a portfolio that you want Nathan to check out if there's time, you can just hop onto the Discord and post your link and join the channel right in there. This will be up on YouTube probably tomorrow or the next day. And that's all I've got. So I'll let Nathan take over.
And I've been doing portfolio reviews in Design Den for who knows how long. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of do a more formal stream so that people can kind of see what's up and record it. So I'm only going to go through like 4 portfolios right now. A lot of the advice that I give can account for everybody's portfolio. So whether you're probably even artists can learn from this as well, programmers, producers, whatever. But yeah, if you want your portfolio reviewed like personally, then we can always next month or so just pop it into the portfolio hub, and we can take a look at it. So usually how I do these as well is I will go over a couple portfolios for people that post in the portfolio hubs and in Design Den's Discord channel, and I will also show you guys some examples of some solid portfolios of people that I personally know that are in the industry. So, all right, let us get started. So, first one I'm going to go through is August. So, let us see here. This is kind of a cool start to it. Let's see, do I click here? All right, cool. Something simple. Okay. I got to give a minute to load up. Environments. Oh, moons. Is this Moonray? Okay, yeah, I've heard of this game before. Looks pretty solid. My computer might be a bit slow, and that's why okay, here we go. Let's see if this is going to come up so I can. All right, this looks pretty cool. Let's see what you do here, August. So yeah, the projects look pretty nice. Look pretty solid. Look very professional. All very Unreal stuff, which is cool. Yeah, August, I'm not sure if you're a student or you're someone in the industry, or if you're like trying to get your first job, like for a bigger company. So for me, one thing that I like seeing on people's portfolios is kind of like their process. Right now for your portfolio, yours kind of reminds me of somebody who's like an industry veteran who just posts older stuff and is just like, hey, yeah, here's my thing that I worked on Call of Duty or this and that, whatever. Um, Personally, I always feel like it's nicer to kind of show your process. And by that, I mean, if let's just say for this first one up here, if you had like maybe a top-down map showing out the levels that you created, you talk about your process on like what made the level go from A to B. So top-down maps, blockouts, and stuff. If these are projects that are by a studio, then of course ask permission to see like what's possible for you to share and what can you not share. Because I know for some studios, of course, well, not some, most of them, they won't even let you like show blockouts and stuff because it could show the engine, and they don't want, that's all the proprietary technology, so they don't want anything of that to happen. I know most places are just tell you to get like a video of the game when it comes out or screenshots from in game from the game itself. But yeah, if you can, like having because hiring managers and recruiters love to see your process. They want to know like, hey, can you do A through B? Because while we all know like this is like the final execution for a game, we would love to see like why you made the decisions that you made. Because every level that is made are decisions made by you as a designer and iterated upon and stuff. Like yeah, having screenshots is cool. So even have a thing here where it's like a drawer saying like, I want the player to go this way, so I have stairs that lead up that way, or this is a branching path, so they can go left or right to get to this different path here. I think are these all under the same? Oh, okay. Another thing that kind of I think helps as well is if having the games in different excuse me, having the games in different tabs so that way I don't get confused when I'm scrolling down. So I'll just show an example. So this is my portfolio here. And how I kind of do it is I have my projects separated out in different tabs here. So if you click on Sphere, this entire page now is dedicated just to Sphere and its process and stuff. So I always find that a little bit easier. So that way when somebody is scrolling around your stuff, they don't accidentally think that, Mood Ray is the same as Fractured Veil or as Astro Nomad. I mean, I'm sure as I scroll now, I can see like, oh yeah, this is different from that one. But you never know. It's just to be safe. Let's see. Oh, we got some other stuff going on here. Oh, cool. So you have your block out here and stuff. Yeah. Let's see. And I decided let's keep going down. Okay, cool. So everything here is yeah, like stuff like this. This is cool. I would love to see more of this. Looks like you have a block out here. I think it'd be great to have a gameplay video because the thing about being level designers, like we're not like screenshots aren't going to do our isn't going to do our work justice because I have definitely seen screenshots of games or even like projects that look absolutely phenomenal because it's like perfect composition and all that stuff, and then you see it get ran through and you're like, oh, that doesn't look like it's that fun. So I would definitely say having GIFs, having a video of the game, of the level being played through will definitely be very helpful. But I think since you have so many other projects going on here that show a lot of the gameplay, that you could definitely probably get away with this. Documentation on here is fine, as long as you don't post like oh, you even have the PDFs, which is cool. But as long as you're not posting like your entire 50-page doc, because nobody's going to read that. Uh, Oh wow, yeah, you have a lot of stuff on here. Yeah, I think it'd just be helpful for you to just kind of make these separate tabs. That will make it a lot easier rather than having me scroll all through this. And I think, let me see, do you have? Yeah, another cool thing, another great thing too, but like say if I mouse over level design, it shows all the projects. So for mine, if I go to projects, it has everything here, so you can go back and forth between them. While yours, I don't really see that. But the level design stuff looks cool. I just think the presentation could use a bit of work. Because right now it's just an endless scrolling page. So, and that's the thing too for anyone listening. Portfolios are like 50% projects and also 50% presentation. You can have like the most amazing projects in the world, but your presentation like isn't good, then it could come. They can make them look bad. So presentation is definitely also half the battle. Let's go to narrative content. I've always been a narrative designer and a writer. Okay. Yeah, narrative design stuff is really not my forte. But I think having like these little screenshots of the tidbits are great. I think if you have anything that is in game, you can definitely show that as well. Like let me know how it's implemented, or if you implement it yourself, or just showing like it being in the process of being played. It's really helpful. Let's go to see a CV. Okay, cool. So a whole lot of freelance work. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm guessing you are in somewhere in Europe. All right, that's cool. I'm not sure how it is in Europe, but for us in the States, like having these bars really on your CV or resume, they're really not that helpful. So for example, like you have this bar here for Unreal. Like let's just say this is like out of 10 and this is like a 9 out of 10. So it's like for me as someone who's a recruiter, it's like kind of all up to me to interpret that. So for me, if I'm looking at this, it's like, oh, you're a 9 out of 10. So does that mean you almost know as much as people who like work in Unreal for like the last 20 years, or even people who like have made it itself? So these can kind of always kind of throw people off a little bit because it's all up to the person who's interpreting it. because I don't know if I'm rating you upon people that you know or people that you've worked with, or am I rating you across like everyone across the world or everyone that applies, you know? So I would kind of say you can kind of leave these off. Like I can tell by your skill of what you have if I am like looking at your projects. I don't think these are really necessary to have. Um, Even probably, yeah. I mean, this is also. I feel like even for the languages, like this probably might be fine. But you can always put like that Swedish is like your mother tongue, and then English like you're proficient in, and German you're like no novice in and stuff. Just I always feel like though I think that would kind of be a bit better than trying to have it as bars and have someone kind of look and interpret stuff. Um. Okay. You've been a freelance for quite some time, which is awesome. That's cool. So I'll probably say for a lot of the descriptions, it'd be better to kind of go into a bit more detail if you can. So saying things like, I blocked out 3 levels for this particular game to showcase all these mechanics, or I pitched this mechanic, or I iterated and blocked down upon this level, that would be really, really helpful and stuff. So I think just having more detail within the projects themselves will definitely be helpful. And I'm sure you probably have a PDF that goes into more detail. And if you do, then I am sorry. I just do not see it here. Um, we do. Yes. What's the question? And what's the question? Hi, Andy. That's a good question. So honestly, that all depends on what you're kind of going for. If you're going for more AAA, they want AAA is like very specialized. Like if you get hired as a level designer, you are probably going to be doing LD work every day. And even then, too, it depends on the studio. I know for us at Lost Boys, like they tell us that if we want to venture out different design pillars, we can always just see what's what. Um, I would definitely say what if you're applying for AAA jobs, I would say having separate portfolios is always good. I will also say as well that if there's like one particular design that you really really enjoy and you really want to go for, you can always just kind of have that at the forefront. So say if like you want to be a level designer, but you have like narrative and system design skills, then you can have level design be like at the forefront of your portfolio, and then like kind of like in the back you can have like other projects, and the other projects can be like, oh, here's like some systems that I made in Unreal, or here's a narrative that I wrote here. um but yeah, I would think that would be that I think that would probably be the best one. So if you have something that you're really passionate about, then just showcase that up front and have the person in the back. But if you're really like trying to say shoot your shot all over as a designer, then I would say having several portfolios, that way when recruiters get it, they can see that you're focused on one of these things. I have heard stories of some recruiters seeing people who have multiple different design disciplines on their portfolio, and for them, they kind of like, oh, well, do you want to be a LD? Do you want to be a game designer? Do you want to be narrative? Do you want to be combat? Like they're like, I don't know what you want to do. So yeah, I think that's how you present it. You know, I hope that answers the question. The question, Andy. Let me take a swig of water. Ah, okie dokie. Let's see. I think I'm gonna move on from this, but anyway, August, I think overall the content looks really cool. Um, I would just love, I think just having it separated out into different tabs would be really helpful for you. And another thing I would say as well, this goes for everybody, like always showcase your best work first. Well, always showcase your best work, period. Because I think some people, I know a lot of students, and I've done this as well when I was a student, that you feel like since you made 10 projects, you want to show off all 10 because you want to show like, look how I've grown. I went from making like a cube in Maya to now I can make an entire environment in Unreal, which is great, and that's awesome for you. But for a recruiter and for a hiring manager, they're not going to really have time to review all that stuff. So for most like AAA studios, they're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of people apply. I think I have people that I know at Activision who say that the recruiters say that for internships they'll have like 10,000 people apply for one position. I think at one point I was talking to a studio, they had over like 800 people apply for one position for an associate position. So, only showcase your best work and make sure that it's easy enough for me as a person to navigate, or for a recruiter or anybody. Because a big thing about when it comes to the recruitment process, you're kind of making your portfolio for two different people. You're making one for the recruiter and you're making one for the hiring manager. The recruiter is somebody who's been doing recruiting for like say, let's say a couple of years and they don't know anything, if anything, about the game dev process. They may know a little bit, but not enough. And for them, they're just kind of like they're to check out boxes to see like, hey, can this person, let's say, block out levels? They know how to do scripting. They may know some of it, but trust me, they're not going to know as much as you as someone who's a designer. They're just kind of there, like I said, to check out the boxes. And then once they think that's all good, they're going to hand it to a hiring manager who's going to be somebody like Ryan Smith or some or a director who's been doing this for a very long time. And they're definitely going to kind of see more of like, okay, what's this person's process? What this person's interests are? What's their steps of making a level? What do they enjoy doing? And then they'll kind of give the okay, and then they'll end up talking to you. So when you're making your stuff, you want to make sure it's probably is really confusing, but you want to make sure that it's simple enough for someone who knows not as much about game dev can look and understand what you do. But you also want to make sure there's still enough information for somebody who's like a veteran in this. They can see like, okay, hey, this person knows their process. So I'm going to go from August now, and I'm going to go to Noah. Let's see. Okay, cool. Projects are here at the bottom. Hey, UT of Austin. My brother went there. Sweet. Let's see. Projects. Looks like it's more of a narrative designer portfolio. Oh, looks like, is this not working? Nope, I don't think it works. Make sure your links work, everybody. Let's see. Arcs. Cool. Click. Oh, it's just a screen. Go to a link. Is there a Google Doc? Huh. That does not look like evacuation. This looks more like a whole narrative type of deal going on. Yeah, so make sure, guys, if you guys have links to things. Oh, wait a minute. So everything. Oh, I see my old dummy here. Yeah, if you have links to things and stuff, make sure they all work properly and that they go to what you want them to go to, because you don't want to confuse people. Um. Oh, I couldn't even see that at the bottom. Let's see. Oh, this goes to a Google Doc. Okay. Yeah, a lot of documents. So overall, Noah, I would say for the presentation website, so one thing is kind of hard to read this when you have all this going on in the background. I would say having like, if you want to use white, like have a darker background. So I know for mine, I kind of have that. Um, Kyle also has his. So if I go to his Lost Boys thing here for New World, he has like a darkish gray background. He has the white here, so it's easier to read. Because right now it's a bit hard to read. Um, for the, let's see here. Oh, Twine. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I would say definitely having links like buttons and links saying like go to HIL page or stuff like that, because that way people who like come around here, because some people might not even look, they might just think like, oh, it's just a picture. I'm not going to click on that, because I thought when I was going to click on this, that was just going to show the picture up in a bigger image. So I think having links that say like go to HIL page to play the Twine, stuff like that would be really, really good. Um, and there's a lot of documents here as well. So yeah, I think right now, Noah, same thing for you is this presentation. I always think having things in separate projects would be great, and that way too, you can go into more detail about your breakdowns of your projects and like why you made the choice that you did. As I said before, narrative design is not my forte. I know there are people in here that are far more qualified than me to talk about that. Um, But I remember when you made this level back in the day. I would say for this, have its own page, give it like a video of the gameplay, talk about the breakdowns and stuff. So talk about how you went from like this top-down map to the block out. Like, what changes do you make? Why do you block out the way you did? Why is level built the way that it is? And also like, yeah, gameplay. Like, that's what I care about. I want to, because as a level designer, um, we want to see how much fun it looks like and how the level is built, where are the flank points, where are the choke points, where is the player going, how do you guide the player and stuff, how are vistas being revealed and such and such. So that's always easier to look at by using GIFs and using videos than what you have going on here. Oh, wait, there's more stuff. Yeah, like I said, I'm always this is just my personal thing, but I'm always a big person of like having separate tabs for projects rather than all just having it all in one thing, because that way I'm not scrolling down for, because I thought this was the end of the page, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's more stuff here. Let's scroll back up at the top. Yeah, if you have a tabs for like the projects too, like I asked in August, that'd be great as well. Let's go back to Noah. Education, cool. Let's see. Let's look at the resume. Let's see. Got your links there. So one thing I've known from people that I've talked to who are actually in the industry, a writer and a narrative designer are two separate things. People think they're the same, but they're not. And I don't want to push this, but I would think that for a narrative designer, you're kind of thinking more of things like from a gameplay perspective, like how is this narrative enhancing the gameplay, and like how do we write it to make sure the player understands what's going on in the world. And I think like for a writer, of course, you're thinking more of like the storytelling and like what is the story that's trying to be told and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say I do know that as a thing I have heard multiple times people saying that writers and narrative designers are different, but also it depends on the studio, which is like, my favorite answer, because every studio is different. Everyone has different names, different responsibilities. I'm sure that a narrative designer at Naughty Dog is probably different than a narrative designer than here at Lost Boys or even at Blizzard or other places as well. Um, so I will say having your experience how you have it here, this was a bit confusing because I thought this was all like one big paragraph, and then I look and I'm like, oh, this is like writer, volunteer, level design, and code writer. I would say the format of this is a little bit confusing. I kind of like it, and I'll show off mine. So like kind of with mine, like you can see, I have associate designer here with all my responsibilities and things of that nature. Because yeah, like I said, with yours right now, I thought this was whole one big paragraph. I didn't even look at it left until now. I was like, oh wait a minute, that's what all this stuff is. So you can still have experience here to left, but you can have like oh like writer or narrative design project or whatever. Um, Education. So you don't really need all this for education. Just have like University of Texas in Austin. Um, you can pay bachelor's in RTF, radio, television, film, dash UT Austin, dash when you graduate. You don't need to have a whole paragraph showing the stuff. Leave all that room for like your projects and for your experience and stuff to say. Awards are cool. Those are always nice to have. Speaking of university leadership, yeah. Yeah, I think another big thing, like I said before, is just a presentation of this. Because yeah, it's just kind of a little bit hard for me to look and see like, hey, what is all your experience? Um, I would say put your projects on here, which I'm sure what you're doing like for the writer and level design writer stuff. But I would just say have a section that says projects, and you can write down like your projects, like for your narrative, for your level design, stuff like that. Because that would be a lot easier. So kind of like how I have here and things of that nature. And I think Marlowe's has something similar. If I go to her CV, this may take a minute to load because I know her CV is. Oh, there it is.
Hey Nathan,
Yeah, even
there's
her.
another question here. You
Awesome.
wanna?
What's up?
This is a good time, yeah. And Bunberly asked, if you're coming from a different career, do you put that in experience at all or just go with relevant work? It's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think it probably depends on. Well, I think it probably depends. So if you're coming from, say, like, I think IT, I think it is still good to have the experience there. Um, so what you can do, and this is what I did for me when I was looking for my first job, is you can have a section that says projects, and you can put like the project section up higher on the resume. So you can say like these are projects that I worked on, and it's like okay, cool. And then you can have like your experience being like whatever you kind of did in that career. Because for our industry, what matters the most is like the projects itself. So yeah, I would say if you're coming from a different industry, like you could definitely put your stuff on there. You can make it relevant towards game dev. So communication, working with different people, project management stuff, all that type of stuff is always really valuable. But I would say then for you, having a project section of your personal projects, so even if you're stuff you work on your own free time, that would be hella helpful. Because I think that's one thing about industry that's really awesome. Because I know for other places, like they may not care if you're working on a personal project in your spare time. If you're like, I don't know, applying to IBM or something, but if you're applying to say Naughty Dog or Blizzard or whatever, and you're like, hey, I work on this side project in my own free time, and it's like this level design thing of like this whole space, then they are definitely more interested in that because for them it's like, hey, that's relevant to what we do. One big thing I'll tell students as well is um, just like whether you're working on a professional project or your side project, it's all relevant experience. Um, you just because you're not getting paid for it. Like I always tell people this for people who are students who want to be level designers, there's no difference between me and you. The only difference is I get paid and more people are probably going to play my games. But like at the end of the day, me and you are still both moving blocks. So, but yeah, for the career stuff, I would say have a section for your projects. I think that'd be really helpful and put that more to the top because that's what they're going to care about the most. Um, I hope that answers the question. Uh, but yeah, Noah. But yeah, I think one thing too, Noah. To kind of help out a bit more, I would say definitely like probably. I know we have a narrative design chat in here as well, so definitely post in there. And I think you can always ask more questions about like, hey, what exactly goes into a narrative design portfolio or into the resume? Because I know we have people in here that are actually narrative designers that can give you a lot better feedback and be a lot more helpful. But I hope what I said was helpful. All right, I'm gonna move on from Noah, and we're gonna go to Harry, associate game designer and gameplay programmer. Where do you work? Do you have a job? Oh, bruh, I was tripping. I saw World of Warcraft. I was like, wait, are you a lead on World of Warcraft? I'm like, oh, guild leader, like for the thing. Okay. That kind of threw me off a bit, not gonna lie. Let's see. So do you have actually any I'm guessing these are projects from school that you have here? Yeah, so honestly, Harry, I would say just put down that you're a technical, okay, because one gameplay designer and gameplay programmer, two different positions. If you want to be more of a designer, just say that you're like you're a technical designer or something. That'll be a lot better. As far for the associate, I would be very careful about putting stuff like this because this can give off the vibe of the fact that you are working at a studio. And if you're not, then it could kind of feel like, oh, well, then why do you say you're associate? Like, I would just say, just put down that you're a technical designer. If you are an associate at a studio, then definitely put associate. Like, that's great. But if you're not, just say that you're a technical designer. Let the associate stuff be when you actually get a job. Let's take a look here. Okay. Solid. It's got separate projects. Oh, it's got some more stuff going on down here. That's cool. Got some level design stuff. All right. Let's take a look at Sanctuary. Oh, it's like a low poly. Wait a minute. It's a low poly Diablo. So that's what it's remind me of. That's cool. Sanctuary. Okay. So this all looks really cool. So one thing you can definitely do too. Oh, you have an itch page. So I will also say what you can do is have a video showing off like the mechanics that you created or whatever that you've made that you want to really show off. I know it says here you were the sole developer, which is really awesome. Um, but I think what would help too is just having like a video here showing off like the gameplay and having like a responsibilities tab. So if I go to, let's say, my portfolio, I have like a video here showing off the gameplay of my level. For you, since it seems like you did a lot more than just a level, you can always just have like a demo reel, kind of like my friend Kyle has for, if I can go to one of his projects, Shark. I think, yeah, so he kind of has like some, let me look that. Yeah, so he has kind of like a demo reel showing off. Oh, this is just a straight up level design he has here for one page. Let me go down. Yes, mechanics. So this one here, he has like a 1 minute video kind of showing off all the mechanics that he's kind of prototyped for Ruby Shark. So if I keep going here, yeah, he shows off the grapple stuff here. And it's just all under one video. It's a demo reel, so I think that's always good for technical designers to have. But yeah, then for you have like a responsibility section here, just kind of showing off like, oh, this is all stuff that I worked on a project. Because the big thing is too, like I said before, recruiters don't have a lot of time looking at stuff. You'd be lucky if they have like a minute. I mean, I'm not even gonna say a minute, probably 30 seconds, depending on whoever is looking. And the reason why I have myself up like this is because if a recruiter is like say in a hurry, they can click my video, they can scroll through it and see the level, and they can scroll down and see the responsibilities. They can be like, "Oh, cool, you did all this," and they can already get the gist of what my talent and stuff is by looking at these two things. And if they want to know more, then they can see more of my process and stuff. But if they don't have time, at least they can see a video that I made and they can see like my responsibilities. So I think that can really help you because this looks pretty cool. It'd just be nice to kind of see. I think I would like to see more of a video that I can actually scrub through and take a look at. Let's see. I guess there's an itch page here. Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, I would say yeah, keeping a lot of that here on your portfolio on your project is really helpful.
Got another question.
Yes,
It is, ooh, blogs. Are they worth it on a portfolio?
blogs. Yes, I actually have several blogs on my portfolio. I actually had a interview one time with someone at Blizzard who's actually said he went through my blogs and he thought they're really cool and he asked me questions about them. So yeah, I would say blogs are great. Um, Now, what do you blog? All depends. For me, when I use my
As a
blogs, I
streamer, you should.
use them to go into more detail about my design process, feature my projects, and I also did them to talk about like when I was doing like level design breakdowns of levels that I really enjoyed in games. Matter of fact, I'll just pull that up. So yeah, this is all my blogs that I've done. These are like a blog for my projects here, for CGMA level design games that I did, showing off what I learned, and also talking about like studies that I did for Titanfall 2 Last of Us. So yeah, I definitely think blogs are worth it. Are definitely worth it. Even if people don't look at them, I think for me, what it did, it helped me kind of learn how to talk about my process better because when you're writing your blog you're trying to figure out, okay, how much do I write, what do I say, how do I say it, and you're kind of like putting it to paper. And I think definitely like when you write out a blog and you kind of go into that whole process, when someone asks you about your process of like, hey, so how do you go about writing this, doing this level, I think it makes it a bit easier for you to talk about it because I mean you just wrote down the entire process on paper and then typed it up on the blog site, so it should now come faster to you. But yeah, I think blogs are worth it. Having them as a separate thing in your portfolio is great. I think they're great. I think they're awesome for going to more details about your breakdowns. So when you have like your project page, you can have like tidbits about about the project like here, and then it's like, hey, I want to know more about this guy's level. What? Let me see. Oh, cool. He has a blog post about Sphere, and then you can see here Sphere. This goes into all the detail, like from games that I played to GDC talks I looked at, talking about the process of blocking out the level, play testing, problems I face, guided player, all that. So I'm going into way more detail now here than I did on my regular page. So I believe blogs are very much worth it. And I mean, Ryan, you're Ryan. You've reviewed portfolios before. Have you ever read people's blogs before, or do you like seeing blogs?
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to set up this
Oh,
feature
Ryan's
chat
probably
thing. All right, I'm back. Sorry, the
yeah,
question about blogs.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. It gives a good, um, like if I'm reading someone's portfolio and then I get a good opinion about how they are as a designer, but then they also have like a blog and it's like a more of a personal thing. Like it's just more about their brain and how their mind works, and maybe like they go into more detail about their design intentions and the kind of games that they like. And
Hmm.
it's like kind of like a little bit more personality than just the run of the mill portfolio where it's like just here's my work, here's just a dump of everything that I've worked on. So yeah, I think it's really good to kind of see that stuff. I wouldn't say it's definitely not necessary, but
Yeah,
it could help. It's just another thing, right? So
yeah. 100%. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it does. Yeah, because it gives people more personality, and even that too. You can then also, when you're writing a blog, if you want to do like, oh, I really enjoyed, like the combat system in God of War, and you can write a blog about that and be like,
yeah,
this is the things that I noticed, and like this is why I think is awesome, and here's some things that maybe that could have been changed. Like, yeah, you can go in more detail about
yeah.
that stuff as well.
It's also
So,
another thing for whoever's interviewing. Like sometimes, you might not be getting enough from somebody's portfolio, or maybe they're not answering the questions well enough in an interview. And so having that blog, like if I'm doing the interview, conducting the interview, and I see this person has a blog, but they're maybe having a hard time in the interview, it's like, oh, here's a thing that they probably actually really know how to talk about. That they're maybe not nervous to talk about this because it's something it's very personal to them. So let me bring something up from that and see how that conversation goes and see if I can get a little bit more out of this, right? So
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, when I was in an interview actually with Blizzard, for the unannounced project, and the design manager had saw one of my blogs for Last of Us where I did a thing where I recreated one of their levels, and I talked about it, and he told me, he was like, yeah, I've never seen someone do this in their portfolio, and he asked me like, what made you do this, or like why do you do it like this? So yeah, it's also a great way to spark a
Mm,
conversation in a interview.
for sure.
100%. Cool. Let's see. Let's keep going here to Harry stuff. Under. Okay, cool. Same thing. Videos, responsibility stuff, I think would be a lot helpful. I'm assuming that you have that similar throughout all. Yeah, so another thing why I think responsibilities is great as well, Harry, is because you have right now game designer and account designer, programmer. These are all three different positions. You can always have these under the responsibility. So instead of saying that you are an encounter designer, you just say, oh, I designed this many encounters to make the player feel this type of way when they're playing this game. Or instead of saying programmer, you could say that you prototype and program out like these particular things as well. So that way you don't say, that way it's a lot easier to say that than rather putting that you are three different positions in one, because some people can read that and think that, oh, well, you have no idea what you want to do in our industry, so this also confuses me. So yeah, I think definitely doing the responsibilities would be a lot helpful, because you can then say technical designer, and then or game designer, and then just put down bullet points saying like design these encounters, prototype out this system, design this system, etc., etc. Yeah, even here too. Oh, one thing here, lead designer. So this all depends on who's looking at it, but I rather it be, rather take a side precaution. Some people who are looking at your stuff can look at leads and kind of take that the wrong way. Um, because since you're not actually a lead in the industry, they might think you're trying to boost yourself up. I've heard that from a lot of people where they say like, because I know people who say that they've looked at people's portfolios where they say lead, and they end up talking to the person, and it seems like they were just saying it to boost themselves up. So what you can do is say, instead of saying that you're a lead, you can say you're a game designer, and then put a bullet point that says that you led the design process, or you managed this team to do this and stuff. That way you're still talking about like you being a lead without saying that, putting down that you're a straight up lead. I think it definitely, but like I will also say too, it depends on the person. I know some people who don't care. They're like, yeah, I know they're a lead for a hobby project or for a student project. Like that's completely fine. Some people will be okay with that, and some may think that you're trying to boost yourself up more than what you really are. So, I always err more on the side of caution. Because you never know. Some people might see that and they just can't get that out of their head. Even if you already have a great portfolio, they might just see it and they might just already have the idea about you. So just to err on the side of caution, personally. Bearing quests, yeah, looks like the same thing I said before. Cool, cool, cool. Encounters. This looks kind of cool. This reminds me of a game, but I don't know what game. Can't think of it. Levels. Can I click on that? If you're going to show off levels, having a gameplay video of you running around the space and stuff is going to be really, really helpful. Rather just doing like this whole top-down map and stuff like that, because this doesn't really tell me anything. But you running around gives me a much better idea of how the level's actually supposed to be played, rather than just some screenshots. And if you're not trying to be a level designer, then you don't need to have this. So if you just want to be a technical designer, then just show off your technical stuff. You don't need to show off level design stuff. That's if you don't want to, of course. Let's go to resume.
Well, Nathan, we got another question.
Oh, shoot,
And I
go
got this
ahead.
chat thing working. Okay, cool. So Andy, he asks another one. It was for design tests. Is the final product or the process more important?
Oh man, that is a good question. I will honestly
Mm-hmm.
say I think I've taken like 4 or 5 design tests, and I don't think I ever passed one. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know that's fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know. I think Ryan, I think you can answer that because I mean,
Yeah.
you can answer that better than I can.
Um, I mean, it's definitely both, right? But I think it's probably more of the final product because that's what everybody's judging. That's the point of it, to deliver something. Um, I've never really. There's been a few times, like, I always ask process, obviously, and it's usually design tests are built in a way where that's included, where you kind of have to show, some documentation or some top downs, and usually the questions are around the process as well. So it definitely 100% matters. But I mean, if you show off something really amazing, and then when asked about how you did it, you're kind of like whatever, or you don't really answer the questions well, it still doesn't take away from the fact that you had like a really awesome test, right? But if you didn't have a great test, but you, I don't know, had like the best documentation and you could talk someone's head off about how you came up with this idea, but it didn't really show, then that's not great, right? So I would definitely lean into more of the final product if I had to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've taken design tests before. I definitely learn a lot from them, but I
Yeah.
also I think I got feedback on one, and that was because I knew somebody who worked there, so they gave me feedback on that. But the other ones, I never got feedback on them, so I never knew what I could have done to improve. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think I will go with Ryan on that. Uh, let's see. Harry's resume. There's a lot going on here. Let us see.
Just so
Number
everyone knows, we
one.
can go through and answer some more questions when we're done with the portfolios. If Nathan, if you have to bounce, I could always stick around. But just so everybody knows, I'll check out all the questions. We'll put them up.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm all good.
All right, cool.
Let's see here. Number one thing, this color, make this darker. Yellow on white is really hard to read. Like even this is kind of like, oh, I'm trying to take a look at that and it's kind of hard. Um, like number one thing, guys, you can always use color on resume. So please use color if you want to. Just make sure that is legible. I always tell people that your resume is a document to share information. It is not a poster. So go with it like that. So of course, let me see if I can. So that like mine, I have color here and stuff, which is great. But you can still see what I'm trying to do here. Marlos, she has color as well, but you can see it's not overwhelming the page. Alrighty, let's take a look at this stuff here. So I saw in your summary you have here dedicated junior programmer and junior designer with 4+ years of experience working on video games. I would honestly just say like just say that just say that you're like a technical just say technical designer. I just feel like whenever I read something like this, it just kind of feels like that you're working in the industry, and if you're not, then it can come off that cannot come off pretty well. And then you have like 4+ years of experience and stuff. Like I totally get what you're trying to do here, and I completely understand it. But I would just say, yeah, to say that you're a technical, this I was just put down technical designer with experience working in like Unity and all type of stuff here. Another thing as well, also like you don't even really need a summary, um, or like objectives and stuff. So you can honestly get rid of that if you want to. But if you do want to keep it, I would just kind of reword it a little bit. Because even looking at this here, you have like fluent in C sharp and all this type of stuff here. You have BS in game design. Like I can see all that here. So it just feels like you're just reiterating information that's where you hear in your resume. So if you're doing stuff like that, I would just say to get rid of this if you want to. Key skills, game development, testing, prototyping, cool. So when it comes to stuff like this, I have a friend of mine who says like when he sees stuff like this, he tells people like don't tell him, show him. So you have something here like yeah, like prototyping. So instead of saying prototyping here, talk about how you prototype a system or something over here under your projects. One thing I love to say is like for people, so say if someone does in communication, like say they have great communicator, um, instead of putting something like that, I have here like collaborating with the environment artists on what props and textures with better levels of experience. I have worked with programmers on developing and iterating puzzle mechanics. So I have things like that to show that I'm a good communicator rather than saying, "Oh, I'm a great communicator," and have that as a bullet point. So yeah, like taking this stuff here and putting it under your projects is gonna be a lot more beneficial to you. Um, technical skills, C sharp, C++, Java, tools, Unity, Discord, Office Suite. Cool, cool, cool. Android, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, even that too with the tools, like having here, like saying that you have C plus C sharp, like say, oh, I prototype this thing in Unity using C sharp and prototype these things, or even C plus plus. You even have here like object oriented game programming. Like, how did you use that skill in one of your projects? Like, let me know how that relates. So that way people you don't want, that's the thing too, when it comes to your stuff, like, you don't want your resume portfolio to make someone guess how you did things. Like, just tell me straight up, like, if you know how to do a thing, tell me exactly how you did it and why you did it like that. Like, don't just put Unreal Engine and then have me think, okay, well, did you just like follow a tutorial of how to place a collider, or did you like make this grand system in Unreal? Like, let me know how you did that. Like, help me help you type of deal. Education, honestly, this can go at the bottom. That is completely fine. I think what you have here is fine. You can even probably lessen into, if you can find a way to put Bloomfield College up at the top here. That's great. But even then, you can put this at the bottom here. Uh, you have your work experience way here at the bottom, and I'm not sure why. I would definitely have that more up here to the top because it's like this is relevant towards games. Like if you're a teaching assistant in game programming, like you can definitely put that up higher here. That way I can then you can talk about how you're teaching students how to do things or follow different programs, stuff like that. Like yeah, stuff like this is hella relevant. So I'll put that more to the top. Relevant coursework. I'm not sure how much that is needed for applying to games. I've seen people who are programmers do it, and I know that is a big thing in computer science and in software engineering to do that. Um, but at the end of the day, I feel like talking about a lot of this stuff here is going to be more beneficial within the projects and within your work experience than just saying relevant coursework. Because another thing too about coursework as well is like the coursework is different between different universities. Everyone has different names to different things. So if you say game programming, like how they teach and do stuff there at your school is going to be a lot different than like say at USC or Michigan State or New York, right? Um, So yeah, I would just say really just talking more about that stuff in your projects and everything is going to be more beneficial than just saying that relevant coursework. Ooh, discrete mathematics, big brain, big brain. Uh, leadership positions. Okay, leadership positions. Oh, you were in the army. What's up? Uh, leadership positions. I don't know. I don't know how to think. I don't know how to really feel about that. That part. You probably could put that as like just another thing of mm, supervise. Well, even here too. So you have like you're a supervisor at Pure Pita. I don't even know. I really don't know what that is. So if you're going to have like leadership stuff here, or you could put it as like work experience, then kind of tell me more about it. Because right now, like team leader, Cavalry Scout, U.S. Army, I completely understand that. Guild leader, World of Warcraft, I get that. Supervisor at Pure Pita, I'm not sure what that is, so that's kind of has me a bit confused. Um, but in any case, I would definitely say like your projects and your work experience going to be more important. Are probably be the most important thing because for you applying to the studio, they want to know that you can do the job when you get there. So yeah, I think that would help a lot more. And then if you have leftover space, you can then put more of the stuff here at the bottom as well, which would be more helpful. Uh, oh yeah, this stuff. Additional information. Excellent written and verbal communication. Like I said, you can do that in your projects. Receptive to and efficient in working remotely. You can just say how you can put down here in one of your things here that you work remote. Proficient and critical considering feedback. Yeah, so all this additional information, like you could talk about this in your portfolio or like within your projects here, rather than just having it there just because. Um, but yeah, overall, Harry, I say for the projects, I like the projects. I think they're cool. I just would kind of like to see more videos and stuff, and maybe a bit more of like the process itself. And yeah, I'm not sure if you're trying to be a gameplay programmer or a game designer, because as I said before, those are completely different. And you can definitely gear your portfolio and your resume to whatever position you want to pick. Alrighty, we have one more portfolio that I am going to go through. Corey. Oh, cool. DigiPen. Senior. Portal. Okay, lots of projects here. That's cool. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, oh, oh. Endless Studios. A new online game making apprenticeship program founded by Elam Media creators are never alone beyond blue. Okay, interesting. I'm guessing this is more level design stuff here. I would honestly, if you have more videos kind of showing off this game, that'd be really really awesome and helpful. I see you have all these videos here, which is great. But still having them also on your portfolio would be awesome. That way I don't have to click on these and like go back and forth between YouTube and your thing. Honestly, I don't even say here, instead of having it like this, just have it kind of like, have them here on your website. That way I don't have to like go back and forth between YouTube and your portfolio because you want people to stay on your portfolio as long as possible. You don't want it to keep going back and forth and stuff like that. And I will also say if you could talk more about the process of the game itself, then definitely talk about that as well. Because contributions, that's great. Screenshots are cool as well. But I always like seeing videos so I can kind of scrub through things and kind of take a look and be like, okay, cool. What is all this game is about? Raw walk, that looks cool. Let's see what that is. Oh shit, okay. We got some Maya going on here. Oh, so you went into Maya, you went into Unity, did a pass. Okay, okay, okay. Man did the whole I like it. I like it. Yeah, I would say here, like the video here is cool, but I always like having videos so I can scrub through myself rather than just like seeing a GIF that I can't really do anything with. But this looks nice. I like this. I like how this process is done. 100% for sure. This is really clean, really simple, really nice to look at. Riverside Ruins. Okay, looks like the same thing going on here. Yeah, I think, yeah, big thing video showing off all the things for me would be great. Let's go to narrative design. Oh, analysis, that's cool. So I guess I would ask you is, do you want to be a narrative designer or do you want to be a level designer? Because I'm not 100% sure right now. If you want to be a level designer, then yeah, have this definitely at the forefront. If you want to be narrative, then have that at the forefront. But yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean, I'm assuming you want to be a level designer because I see a lot of level design work here, and there's a lot of things going on here when it comes to level design. So that's what I'm assuming you want to be. Contact and resume. Honestly, I don't think you really need to have a contact page. You can just honestly have just like at the bottom have your name, number, and your email. You don't really need to have all this stuff here. Let's go to the portfolio. Can I full screen that? Or oh, it's gonna do that. Okay, yeah. So I would say instead of having the scribbles, just have like So I would say it's because I know it goes to that whole different website. I would just say you have a thing here where you can just click on a link for resume and this goes to like a PDF version. That way I don't feel like I'm going to like a sketchy site or something. But I will download your stuff here. Oh, look at that. Oh, you've been entering. Okay, you've been entering them for a while. See, contact info, cool. Skills, cool. Scripted movements. Huh, this is actually a pretty solid resume. Low key. Yeah, this is actually pretty nice. I don't really have anything much to say about this. I gotta go back.
Hey, Nathan, we got another question.
Hey, I have an answer, hopefully. What's up?
Andy Graves says, what if there's a concern putting that contact information on a public page?
Ooh, on a public page. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely understand that because you don't want people just to randomly contact you and stuff all over. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, I mean, if you don't want to put like your email and everything, then you can always just put like your LinkedIn then, and they can always contact you through there, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to have your phone number either, I could completely understand that. I think for my, I think I just have my LinkedIn and my email at the bottom. I don't have my phone number and all that. I have it on my resume though, but I don't have it on my other stuff. So yeah, I would say if you just want to put like your social media stuff, then I think that's fine. If you don't want to have like your email or your email or your phone number, then you don't have to put that. Um, but yeah, this thing about think about ways how people can contact you and get in touch with you and get in touch with you. Because at the end of the day, like, because you never know who's gonna find your stuff. You don't know if maybe somebody at a studio is like, oh, you look for someone who's a programmer, and they happen to come across your website because they're just like scrolling through websites one day and they need to know how to get in contact with you and stuff. So definitely do that. Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
We can answer another question. Let's see who's got scroll up here. What's this one? Is there an implication of a skill set if you see someone as a lead designer? Are you saying that if you an application comes in that someone was a lead designer and they're applying for a job? I mean, I guess yeah. If they're applying as a designer role, I mean, there's always kind of like the thought of like, okay, well, what does that mean? What was that experience like? Um, and an implied skill set, sure, like having that experience. I mean, you're going to be, um, having done things and been involved with some, I don't know, different processes and parts of creating the game
Eh,
that you wouldn't be. So, I mean, I don't, or maybe there's more to that question. I don't know.
I'm back.
Okay, I was just answering a question that came up.
Oh, cool.
But I don't
What
know
was the
if, what
question?
the context was because it was one from earlier. So I asking if Bort is still watching and can uh, elaborate a little bit. The question is there an implication of a skill set if you see someone as a lead designer? And I'm just unsure if they mean like
Implications.
if somebody was a lead designer and now they're applying for a designer role, what does that mean? Or if they're, I don't know, or what. Sorry, I asked it when Nathan was saying about careful of listing yourself as a lead designer on the resume.
Oh, well, yeah. So the reason why I say that is because if you're someone who's just trying to break into the industry,
Oh,
like they're not going to hire you as a lead like out of school, because working on a project in school or in a hobby is far different than working at Blizzard or Lost Boys or whatever. So yeah, if you're trying to break in the industry, they're not going to hire you as a lead or a director. um
but does
like
that mean even if like you worked? Because a lot of times I see people who are students and they've
mhm,
worked on like projects with groups of people, whether it's in school or outside, and they might have taken on that lead designer role,
mhm.
which is nice to see because it kind of means that they had more responsibility, and then I can ask questions about that experience and what was challenging about it, and you can kind of gauge like their skill set in terms of like leadership, because it's something that a lot of people want to grow towards anyway. So it's kind of nice
Oh
to
yeah,
hear. Is
100%.
that what you?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
But
But
you
yeah,
just
I know, yeah, that's complete. I'm just saying that like if you've just graduated from school and
yeah.
you're applying for jobs, like they're not going to hire you as a lead designer
Oh
on
right,
Overwatch if you're
right,
straight out of school. That's what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, then somebody says, hold on, what's this one? It says, um, oh, this is a comment. Like, okay, so JLH Game Art is a lead artist at Ubisoft Annecy. Oh, yeah. And he says that as a lead, he delegates more than actually doing any artwork. Yeah,
Yes.
that really depends on the studio, but yes, I guess in general, that's the thing. I know from experience at Ubisoft Studios that is definitely a thing. Of course, always depending on where you are, but I feel like in general, Ubisoft Studios, it's a little bit more like that. If you're a lead, um, you're not going to be doing a lot of work in the actual editor, and so yeah. But again, that's not everywhere. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely have seen myself. I think that's one reality I noticed when I got my job at Hangar 13 was I had a lead. He was definitely in a lot of meetings and stuff, more in the editor. But when he got the only time I think I ever saw him actually get in editor was when we had deadlines coming up and we just had tasks had to get done. But yeah, definitely I think that depends on the studio. But from what I've seen, for what I've worked, um, it definitely seems like a lead is more of someone. Of course, they're delegating tasks and talking to people, and they're more of a man. They're more doing a lot of management stuff. But like yeah, Ryan said, it definitely depends on where and who you work at. Because I'm sure
Mm,
they have some studios where leads actually do work, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's like a massive. I'm sure if it's like a place like a Ubisoft or Blizzard or anything, like they are going to probably be more in documentation and meetings and things.
right.
But yeah, depends.
Yep.
Um, but in terms of this portfolio here, because I actually was pretty much done, but I would
Okay.
say here, Corey, I like a lot what you have here, but I would say biggest thing is you have a whole bunch of stuff here on the portfolio. I would just say like pick whatever you think is your best work and present that. Because I think as mentioned before, like you don't need to put everything on here. Like just put on the stuff that you're most proud of. But I do like a lot of this stuff here though. I like the boardwalk. It looks really cool. This also looks pretty cool. The anesthesia, I think that's how you say it. But yeah, if you're proud of all this work, then by all means you can keep it on here. But if you think if you look at your portfolio and there's anything on there where you look and you go, hmm, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about that project. Then I would say take it off. If there's any project you have like a hesitation towards it, if it's on your portfolio, then I would tell you like, keep it off your portfolio. Only put work that you're proud of, because they care more about the quality of your portfolio, not the quantity. Like they rather see three really good pieces than seeing like 10 where it's like three are good, one is okay, and like the rest are like, Um, Besides that though, I think that's all the portfolios I'm going to
Cool.
go through for today.
Cool, man. Um, there's a couple. There's a couple questions there. I don't know if you need to bounce. If you need to bounce, that's cool. I can stick around and
No, no,
answer
no.
these. Yeah, we can chat.
I got time.
Okay. There's one. I'll just take them in order. So this one is: what skill set distinguishes junior LD from middle LD, and when a person should ask for a promotion to the and when should a person ask for a promotion to middle LD? Question mark. Thanks, guys, for the stream. First of
Oh,
all, you're
that is a
welcome.
good question.
I have thoughts on this if you don't
Yes,
mind.
you go
Yeah.
ahead, please,
Okay.
because I'm still an
Okay.
associate. I still know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yes.
um. Yeah. So I mean, for junior, you're kind of coming in and you're looked at as a learner at that point. So it's a little bit more of your leads and seniors are going to be more holding your hand through everything. Not everything, but I mean, it's a learning process. So things are going to get assigned to you. Um, you know, you're learning the tools and the process, and you're following more instructions. So it's you're trying to meet, like define objectives from somebody else most of the time, right? And kind of doing that work as a learner. And then as you kind of grow into more intermediate, it's more of like you're going out of your way, assessing the challenges and things that might come up down the line, and just taking more initiative and just collaborating more, just kind of taking more autonomous ownership over what it is that you're working on, right? So it's less about what you're being kind of given and more about starting to kind of do things on your own and kind of just growing, in that role, of just being more proficient with the job, if that makes sense. And then, as you grow to senior, it's even more about that. And you're kind of like going out of your way to take on bigger tasks and identifying, roadblocks way before they even happen. And it's kind of like you've been around, you have that experience, and you've mastered the skills of the tools, and you come up with new processes and everything. So it's, there are these things they're divided into each role. But a lot of some of these things can also be arbitrary, right? Like not everybody's the same. Not everybody executes the same way and kind of handles all of these traits or has all these traits, and kind of it's very, there's a very wide array of like what each means, and also depending on the studio. Sorry, that was a lot, but I hope that answers the question. And then the second part is like, when should a person ask for a promotion to middle LD? Well, so that you should never be in a position where you feel like you have to ask, or like it's like a giant question mark to you, because if your leads should be having regular meetings and one-on-ones with you, probably monthly or so, and that's your time to kind of ask like how you're doing, and time for them. Nathan, I don't know if you're eating something, but we can hear it.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. That's your time to kind of talk to them about this stuff, right? And they should know, and they should be helping you reach those goals. They should have feedback for you, and they should also be taking notes and know that this is what you're trying to go for, and they should be helping you grow to that, right? So they should have an understanding of like where on that spectrum you are from junior to mid-level designer, and be helping you reach mid-level. So again, yeah, it should never be like a question that you kind of just like ask. It should be something that you request over time, and communicate that you want to grow into that, but they should be helping you ultimately kind of transition into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% on
And
that
then,
for sure. I know. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Ryan. I thought
oh
you were
no,
done.
you finish up your thought on that before I move to the next one.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah, I think that's 100% true. Like, yeah, you should be meeting with. I know for me, I meet with my leads when I was like at Hanger. I met with my lead every week, and we would talk about stuff, and I would ask him like, hey, what are some things I can improve on as a designer? What are things I can do, and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's definitely a conversation you should be having with them. And as time goes on, then they will, even as a junior, they will assign you tasks where it's like, oh, hey, we want you to tackle block. We have a document for a POI. We want you to block it out, do the first initial pass and the block out and stuff, so because I think it's like as you go on within the job, then they'll definitely if you are asking and talking to them about it, then they will definitely give you opportunities to then showcase off that talent and show you
Mm-hmm.
how to grow into what you want to be as a mid or whatever. E.
Cool. And the next question was, excuse me, is there a limit to how many projects you should have on your portfolio, and how many is too many? That's a great question. I would
That
say
is
that
a
there is
question.
no limit as long as things are organized, then it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think that's true. I think as long as I don't think there really is a limit either. I would just say to this for you, like, because at the end of the day, like, it's your portfolio. You put on what you want to put on. I would just tell people the biggest thing is if you are looking at your portfolio and there's anything on your portfolio where you look and you say, I'm not, if you have any hesitation of having something on a portfolio, if you're kind of like, I'm not too sure about this project, then I would tell you to get rid of it. But if you have
Yeah.
10 really amazing projects and you think they're all amazing, they're all great, then by all means, bro, put them. It's at the end of the day, it's your portfolio, not mine. We can give you suggestions and ideas and feedback on your things. But at the end of the day, like if you think that what you have is great work, then then put it.
Cool. You're very welcome, Alex. Cool. That's it. I mean, I guess if there's any last minute questions that come in, put them there now. Otherwise, I think we'll end the stream. I do want to say thanks for everybody who showed up and who did this and who asked questions. Nathan does this once a month. We're going to do this now more like through Twitch, like this. I think
Hmm.
this is a good setup. I think there's some kinks to work through a little bit, but I think we got the handle of it. This was successful. This is cool. And I'll upload this video on YouTube so that way even more people can see it. So if you haven't already, follow us on Twitch, join the Discord, do all that stuff. Let us know how you feel about this, and let us know if there's anything else that we can do. We'll also be having other people, other AAA devs, actually do these portfolio reviews as well. Because once we announced that Nathan was doing this, a few people reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I work here and I've got this experience. I would love to help people with their portfolio. So we're gonna do this more with other developers, which is really cool." So yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, there is a question that came in.
So,
As an indie who has shipped a successful, this will be the last question.
okay.
Oh wait, oh no! Right before, as I said that, another one came through. Let's see how fast we can get through these. Let's try. Well, let me put them up on here as on the screen. Okay, so as an indie who has shipped a successful quote air quotes game, I always get asked why I want to switch from indie to AA or AAA, and I feel like I get judged for that more than a beginner entering the industry. Any advice for how I can get recruiters and leads to see me differently instead of, oh, why is he applying, to, wow, he wants to work with us, perhaps something on my portfolio? Question mark.
That is really interesting that
Yeah.
people are judging you upon that, because in my opinion, I think the whole indie AAA thing is kind of the whole, like, what seems to be a barrier to me doesn't make any sense,
Yeah,
especially as I have
I
been working in
agree.
industry, because it's like whether you're working on a 10-person team or a 300-person team, at the end of the day, the end project is to make a game that people enjoy.
Yeah.
Whether you're working on Hades or Overwatch or whatever. So I personally, if somebody is gatekeeping you because you work in indie, I think that is really
Yeah.
that doesn't make any
That's
sense to me.
silly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's really silly.
yeah, I agree 100%. Would say the same thing. I also feel like maybe a way on your, so like you're asking like something perhaps on your portfolio. I would say that just wherever you're applying to, if you were to do something like a small personal project that was kind of geared towards what they were doing, that would help a lot, right? Like if you have this successful
Yeah.
indie game, but then you apply to Naughty Dog and they're like, well, what is this person applying here for? Like, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Work on a personal project that's like an Uncharted level or a Last of Us level. And then,
Mhm.
then you apply and see what they say, right? And hopefully that can help break that wall down. The next question is, yeah. So first off, Andy, yes, this is going to be a regular thing. I hope you caught when I mentioned that. We will have future dates. Yeah. How important is scripting for a pure level designer? Is it enough to know basics of coding and then just use functionality made by programmers? At a base level, yes. Some studios, level designers don't touch scripting. Other studios, you do. It's always better if you know the basics of, let's say you're working on an action game, like basics of spawning, how to set up just like in Unreal, just kind of like basic blueprints, setting up the weapons and all that, just like show that you understand maybe basic, logic. That's like base level. That's great. You don't really need anything more than that to be able to get a job. But knowing more is always better. And usually when you start at a studio, if it's a proprietary engine, you have to kind of learn through whatever that is
Yep.
anyway. If they have the scripting, so it's it's fine if you're not a script master and you're playing as a level designer. I would say always looks better on a portfolio. Yes, if you have like fully scripted levels, but yeah, hope that answers it.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's better to know how to use. It's better to know how to script than not to. It'll always be beneficial to you as a designer.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up. Take it easy. I do streams. I'm making a Call of Duty multiplayer level. You can see the VODs on the Twitch. But I'll do that a couple times a week. Check the schedule. We'll update it with these two, and we'll announce them through our Discord and on Twitter. So follow us everywhere. Find us. We're there. And see you next time. Bye.
Bye.